beautiful creatures of the world, and welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. It's a beautiful day in the far north of Maine, up along the Canadian border in the Crown of Maine. And I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching last Friday's episode of Freaky Friday. I really do appreciate you guys watching it. I appreciate all the emails I got and the comments that we have on the video. We talked about granny magic, we talked about kitchen witchery, we talked about blood stopping, we talked about the healing arts. While I understand and I'm fascinated with lotions and potions and herbal medicine and finding the healing ingredients that you need in nature, that has always fascinated me. I am super, super fascinated and impressed with people who can heal others and it has no scientific explanation. It is truly like a miracle. And so I really enjoyed talking a little bit about blood stopping and people that can do faith healing. They lay their hands on you and just things happen. And there really is no scientific explanation for that. If you did not watch the video, brief recap. I thought my grandmother was the best witch in the world. I thought she was amazing. She would, I would be sick. She would make teas, lotions, potions, liniments, whatever we needed. She brewed it up and she administered it. And before you know it, we were all better. I really appreciate if you do go watch that video because you'll get the more in-depth version of it. I was turned on to herbalism when I was 16 years old. I had a doctor. He did alternative medicine. He was more holistic. He was more into Eastern medicine, as well as Western medicine. And when Western medicine was failing me, he pointed me in the direction of meditation and herbs and things of that nature, more alternative medicine. Now, I did recover from my illness, but it was Western medicine that did ultimately save my life, and I have been able to live a productive, happy life into my old aging in my 50s. I'll be 53 in the next week. So there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. The mystery from my grandmother's potion making was kind of sucked out of me, and I realized when I started studying herbs that there was scientific basis behind her cures. Now, she did not really know why her teas and liniments worked. They were just recipes that were handed down from her mother, her mother's mother, and it went right down the line, right to me. And this is what you do when you get this cold, and this is what you do when you have the flu, and this is what you do when, you tore a muscle or you got aches and pains. This is how we do it. And I would ask why, how, as I got older. But when I really started learning herbs, the mystery and the magic was taken right out of her potions that she made on her kitchen stove, her little drinks, her remedies. And I learned that there was a purpose to what was in the teas, the tinctures, the liniments that she gave us. And I was able to take her recipes, her basic recipes, and I was able to, when my children and my husband got not feeling so great, I was able to put together a little bit of this, add and subtract, and really streamline my grandmother's herbal teas and her liniments and her old wives' ways. And there was a bit of a more purpose and a more get to the point of what was ailing people. And I knew why that was happening. So I learned that there was science behind everything my grandmother was doing. And it's been an amazing journey. I've been learning about herbs since I was 16. I'm going to be 53 next week. And it has been a very long journey of knowledge for me. Now, people have emailed me, and I thank you guys for your emails. Everybody wants to know about herbs and how to start. And thank you so much for the comments on last week's Freaky Friday video. I really do appreciate talking with you guys, chatting in the comment section exchanging emails back and forth. That is an amazing thing for me to do, and I love the interactivity with my audience. But that being said, people have been very, very curious about learning about natural medicine. These platforms, whether you're watching me on YouTube or listening to me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music, there are things that these platforms don't like creators talking about. And some of it is seed oils. They don't really think that we should all be talking about diet and exercise. They don't think we should be talking about natural medicine. Things like that. And we kind of get stomped on a little bit. So on these platforms, you have to take it in a roundabout way to get your ideas across. So Rumble is about the only platform that I can speak freely and openly about this. I have to let the YouTube gods understand that I am not dispensing any advice. This is just things, bits and pieces, excerpts from my life, how I learned, what I do, and it probably won't work for people in my audience, but they can listen anyways if they want to. I feel that knowledge should not be kept secret. And I feel that the more people who are willing to learn about anything, whether it's histories, mysteries, or just relationships and love and life, I think if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to open up your mind and learn about things, learn something new every day, ladies and gentlemen. We do that here. I try to do that every single day. I try to learn something that I did not know. If you go in search of the information and you find the information, study the information, absorb the information, and you will be successful. As far as herbology goes, my first step is to tell everybody that if you really want to learn about herbs and you want to learn how to make magic potions, lotions, tinctures, teas, you should invest in a course. Absolutely. They didn't have these courses when I was first pointed in the direction of this. It just was not a thing. But now at your local community colleges, at your community centers, at nurseries and greenhouses, a lot of people who own the nurseries, they are very well versed. They are herbologists, and they do give courses in herbs, in creating teas and tinctures and oils, and you can convert them into bath oils, body oils. They actually do this. They know their stuff. People who are selling this stuff, local people, they actually know their stuff, and it's years and years of knowledge. And I know people are like, oh, I can't afford the courses, they're so expensive, it's like $100 for 4 hours on the weekend. Well, let me tell you, nobody's going to invest in you. Okay, first of all, you've got to invest in yourself. Secondarily, these people that are teaching you these things, they spent their lifetime learning these things. Generally, when you take a course from somebody and the course is $125 for 4 hours, come to their greenhouse, go to the community college, go to your rec center to learn about these things. They have been studying this for 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 years. And they are willing to, for just a measly $100, give you their knowledge. They're willing to pass it on to you. They made the investment in themselves. So if you can do that, that is where I would begin. That is where I would tell anyone who wants to begin with a professional. Now, if you are in an area of the world that does not have a professional that can teach you, and there's no way you can find any courses from any herbalist anywhere. Now, you're just talking courses. You don't want an herbalist license or anything like that. You just want to learn about herbs. Second place to start is your local library. There you have it. You need to learn herbs. You need to learn the property of herbs. People think I have this huge library about herbs, and I don't. I have a few books out on loan right now. These are my favorites. So what happened is, from the age of 16, I was a bookworm in the library. And I found books that I enjoyed. I'd go on the shelf, look in the garden section. A lot of it is under gardening, how to grow your own herbs and stuff like that. And a lot of those books give you some of the properties of the herbs that you want to grow, and some of them give you recipes. I found this is my go-to. This is my go-to. I'm not promoting anybody's book. This is what I use. The Green Pharmacy. This is a book that is amazing. I got notes, ladies and gentlemen. This is a beloved book. You can tell. We got highlights. And this is the book that I use the most for a variety of different things. Whether it's trying to figure out what ails you, what you're experiencing, what should be done for you. Now, granted, I do not sell, I do not give, go around dispensing this stuff. It's just for my family, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, small group of extended family, and a very small group of friends when they really don't want to get into the over-the-counter. My door just opened. Wow, welcome. Welcome. Hang on 1 minute, guys. I don't know. The door just opened wide. Nobody's there. Okay, here we go. Wild things happen around here. Especially around the moon energy. Things just go a little nuts around here. Anyways, where were we? I don't dispense to strangers. I don't give things away. I don't do that type of stuff. Like I said, it's just for friends, family, close relatives, things like that. And they come to me when they can't find stuff at the store. Like, you go to the Walmart lately? Go down the aisle of the cold and the flu aisle, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. You will be hard pressed in the middle of winter to find decongestant. The shelves are always bare. The most expensive stuff is always there. You can't always afford it with this economy. You can't afford a lot of extra. So when that does happen, sometimes it's a middle of the night thing. My daughter-in-law will call me in the middle of the night. There's a lot of congestion. There's a cough. The kid is fussy, will not sleep, woke up. There's a tea for that. And that's what we do. That's what we do. We do things so that people don't have to run out in the middle of the night to get over-the-counter stuff. And if you go for over-the-counter stuff for kids or for yourself and you want the more natural, organic stuff, that's going to cost you a pretty penny. And chances are you have something in your cupboard that will perform almost the same duty. Let's put it that way. So I have this book that I really love. I also have a few books like this, the Herbal Home Companion. Now, what I like about these books, again, we got a battery of notes, is not only do they cover the herb itself, but they also give you recipes. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, if you want to use natural medicine, you have to understand that you have to treat the body as a whole. The body is a whole thing. The mind, the body, and the spirit. And when you start treating and using nature, nature can cure and nature can kill. That's just how it works. There's a balance. There's two sides to every coin, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you guys this all the time. And there is a balance in nature. What you use to cure is also something that can kill if used the wrong way, if used in excess. So you really have to be very careful when you're using herbs. It's not just, oh, it grows in nature, let's consume it. I have had a few people come into my life that have, it was a phase, everybody was a witch. You know how that goes. You know how that phase went. And they came into my life and they were watching me do things, and then they were doing things, and then they were just dispensing things to people that we worked with. And I was just like, whoa, you slow your roll, because that is way wrong. You don't know what these people are allergic to. There are rules. There are rules to healing. And that's why you really need to take a good course. Because people just like to jump in and go, hey, I can cure you. I'm a healer. And that's just not how it works. It's years and years and years of studying and knowledge. Anyways, if you start eating healthy with the herbs that you're interested in growing and using for other things, then your body is less prone to be sick in the long run. Again, these platforms do not like talking about exercise and diet and plenty of sunshine, which we don't get up along the Canadian border in the Crown of Maine, but it is just a fact of life that we need to eat and consume things and take supplements, which I'm not recommending for everybody. It's what I have to do. I live where the cold hurts my face and the sun don't shine for 90% of the winter. It's starting to shine now because we're moving towards spring. We've hit that point in the year where the days are getting longer and the sunshine is getting stronger and it's out in a little bit more force. But I still, all summer long, we still eat the proper things that give us the proper levels of vitamin D. We take supplements. These are things that we have to do. I don't know what you have to do, but this is what I have to do. So we eat right and we put the right herbs in the foods that we're eating. We eat a lot of garlic here because garlic does a lot of wonderful, miraculous things for your system. I cook very heavy with garlic, and it not only keeps the system running in tip-top shape when you're feeling great, but it is also when you're not feeling so great. It has antiseptic properties. It has the ability to decrease inflammation, which in turn also has the ability to lower blood pressure and things of that nature. So go look up garlic. You can buy that right at the market. So I often advise people to get books that not only tell you about the herb, but also give you recipes so that you can make a salad dressing and make yourself feel better. If you got a little bit of I think a head cold's coming on, you'll know what to put in your salad dressing. You also know what to feed everybody when they come over and they're not quite feeling up to par. And lastly, in my library, which is very, very small, I like to have a few of these type of books, where foraging books, where you step out into nature. Some people don't want to forage. That's perfectly fine. If you are not comfortable foraging in your area, I do recommend that if you get a foraging book, make sure you get it as closely represented to the area that you live in. Like, don't get a book that talks about most stuff in California if you live 15 minutes from Canada and Maine, because you're just not going to have the same stuff growing in your area. You got to kind of get something that will cover the region that you live in. And again, it is a good idea. Don't just buy the book, go take a foraging class. There are a lot of people that for an afternoon or a weekend, and it's going to cost you money because, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be your best investment. They will take you into the woods and they will show you what you should consume and what you shouldn't consume. It won't have to be an experiment. I know a lot of people that are deathly afraid to forage, and that's fine too. I don't really forage much. I'm not that adventurous. I do have friends that do it though, and they're always bringing me, I found these mushrooms, let's give it a try. My father-in-law was a great forager, so that's kind of along the lines in the family. And my husband forages, and my brother-in-laws and my sister-in-laws forage. So it's just something that was part of their growing up. So they have always done that. I knew about the mushroom coffee, the chaga, before it became a thing. It's just part of growing up that my husband had, and he lived on a farm in Minnesota as a child, and he lived on farms that my father-in-law owned in Maine, and it's just a natural part of their growing up. They went out into the woods and they found mushrooms, they found berries, they found all kinds of amazing things, brought them home, and they learned from their parents, and my mother-in-law would cook them up, and everybody's still with us, except for my father-in-law, who passed from natural causes last year. He was in his 80s, so there's longevity there, and I think it is because of the way that they ate. My mother-in-law did not put garbage on the table. It just wasn't a thing for her to do that. and she used a lot of her own vegetables that she grew when she was young, and they had their early marriage and through raising their kids, and herbs, and she just ate right, and she made sure the kids ate right, and they ate naturally and they ate wildly. Many stories about my husband going squirreling and having a lunch of wild blueberries, and that's just how they lived, and that's how we live here on the homestead. I don't forage so much, but I do make sure that I have certain things that I'm actually growing and cultivating, so that I don't have to go foraging in the woods. We have blueberry bushes way out in the Outback 26, but we also have a large family of bear that live near the bushes. So that's not really something that I'm going to drag kids into the woods and forage for. And so we grow our own blueberries here on the homestead. Same thing with the raspberries. There's a beautiful raspberry patch way out in the 26. And again, bears. So, and we have a lot of coyote back there. So it's just a thing where it's easier for me to cultivate certain things here so that the children can enjoy them naturally. And we don't have to worry about becoming happy meals in the forest for other animals. This video is going a little long, so I'm going to kind of leave it there with the advice about herbs and how to begin learning about herbs. Oh, before we go, another really good idea is, if you are going to learn about herbs, learn about one herb at a time. And a good practice to do that is to pick an herb that entices you. It might be pretty. It might be something that you use in cooking all the time, like basil. Go get yourself some nice organic basil seeds. Grow basil from scratch. And as it's growing, learn about the herb, learn about the teas, the tinctures, what you can do with it in your cooking. Keep a journal of that. Some people start at the beginning of the alphabet with A's. They start with anise or, yeah, my mind just went totally blank on the A herbs. That's good, Kerri. Show the people what you know. So start with wherever you want. You want to start in the middle of the alphabet. You want to start at the end of the alphabet. Maybe it's just you saw a picture of an herb in one of the books at the library and it was pretty, it was pink, it was blue. You want to try to use it. A lot of people want to start with echinacea because everybody loves echinacea, and echinacea does so much for you when you're not feeling good, when you've got a cold or you're under the weather. And it's also good to help boost your immune system. So people start with things that they know, things that are pretty. Pick an herb, get yourself a notebook, try to grow that herb, and really study it. It takes a long time to know what to do with these herbs and spices that can really aid in your health. And part of that is sketching the herb out. Maybe a good drawer. You might not be a good drawer. It doesn't matter. Nobody but you is seeing these notebooks. And just color in your herb. Learn the properties of the herb. Learn what happens in an herb reaction and allergy. A lot of herbalists will create their tea, their tincture, whatever that they're doing with a specific herb, and then they will use that herb on themselves. If it's a tea, they'll drink their tea. They'll figure out how they're feeling while they're drinking it, what it's doing to certain symptoms in their body. Then they will sit, after a cup of tea, they will sit in a relaxed state and go through their body mentally. Listen to your body speaks to you, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world. They will listen to their body as the herb goes through their system, and they will actually feel what the cure does for the ailment. And a lot of people do that. And so you should practice on yourself. It's the best way to learn stuff. And make sure that you understand that, well, you may not be allergic to something. somebody else might. So before you start dispensing your concoctions, you really need to ask people what they're allergic to, and use your herbs wisely and use your herbs properly. And that's what I'm going to end on this. I really do believe in investing in yourself. I believe in taking courses. I go to the library, look at the books, figure out what books you really like and have captured your imagination. Go to your local bookstore and look at their section. And if there's something at the library that you like and you want, most of your local bookstores can actually order those books for you. You may have to pay a little bit more than the shelf price because of shipping, but a lot of times they come in with the next order. They'll just place an order for you. And not only are you getting the book that you want, but you're not buying from the big conglomerate. And you can use the book at the library while your local bookstore is getting your book in, and you've just supported your local business, and the money stays right in your community. And local business owners, they live in your community. They work in your community. Their children are a part of the community that your children are a part of. So they have a common thread, a common bond with you, and making your community work and thrive. So if you support their small business enterprise, I guarantee you your community is going to benefit from that support. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, we're going to end with that today. We'll have another little chit chat about herbs, where you can really, if you live in an area where you don't have a lot of greenhouses, if you just can't get your hands on herbs. In the 2000s, when we were not living in Maine, we were living back down in southern New England. I literally had to go to Logie's in Connecticut to get herbs. So we'll talk a little bit about where you can get your herbs from. They weren't as plentiful and they weren't as available as they are now. It was really truly a very specialized purchase if you wanted certain herbs for certain things. But we'll talk about that the next time. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, thank you for joining me. And carpe diem. Nobody promised you a tomorrow.